Every material thing you can perceive is a manifestation of GEB. Take your own body, for example. Your skin, your eyes, your hair. Each and every part of your body is made up of different elements of GEB. The food you eat, be it animal, vegetable, or mineral, it all comes from him, only to be turned to dust and recycled into new forms at death. So let's learn more about the cosmic law that the great sages called GEB. Welcome back to my channel, where today we're going to give the first of a two-part presentation on the net of GEB. But before I do, let me announce the beginning of News from Beyond, a blog that I've created since many of you have said you'd like to read through this material in your own time. So you can find a link to that in the description below. And that website also is connected to my paintings, so you can check those out also. And now back to GEB, who's often called Earth. And indeed he is the physical land itself, the sacred ground on which everything is built. In earlier times, everyone, from the king to the humblest farmer, lived in a mud brick house that's earth soaked in water and dried by the warmth of Ra. And now that I mention it, I really want to make a video about mud brick houses, so that's now on the list. Only the temples and other sacred structures were built from stone, which is another natural product of the earth taken from the mountains. All the statues, all the gold and silver, even the pigments used to paint the walls and ceilings, indeed everything within the temple precinct came from GEB and is a manifestation of him. The Egyptian myths and many other sacred texts tell us that man himself was made from clay, both earth and water being elements of GEB. And while this sacred truth can be taken quite literally, it's often wrongly interpreted. Through a false sense of morality, most people see the earth as the lowest of elements, calling it dirt. And then your ego shows its superiority by walking all over it with your feet. When Moses was told, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you stand is sacred ground," the earth was given its rightful place in the cosmic hierarchy. Yet even this was misinterpreted as a special place, a sacred spot, which should be treated with respect, while the rest of the earth was still just dirt for you to walk over. With GEB, we come to the third generation of netters in the myth, and the first of the procreated twins, GEB and Nut. At this point, we can trace a male lineage in the netters revealed so far, with GEB as a direct descendant of his father Shu from his grandfather Atum. To recap, Atum symbolizes the atom, the smallest monatomic particle that can exist. And his son Shu represents the abstract concept of space and introduces duality and multiplicity. So following the male lineage, GEB holds these atoms in an atomic structure that exists in space, and this is what we call matter. Every material thing comes from the earth that we so often take for granted. And while the analytical scientific way of seeing things is completely materialistic, it manages to overlook the very thing that forms the basis of all materialism. GEB is the foundation of all things. Animal, vegetable, or mineral, it's all the manifestation of Him. The Egyptians saw life as a dynamic, ever-expanding process in which nothing is fixed or static, but rather everything is in a phase of becoming, characteristic of the netta Khepri. And this is also true of the matter of GEB. So the atomic structures that we consider as solids are in fact constantly changing through the nettas of the female lineage, Tefnut and Nut, being time and motion. What we call solid matter is actually an atomic structure that's been formed for a given period of time that we call its lifespan. Think of it as a group of marbles. You can shape them into whatever form you like, then break them up and rearrange them into another form. Every atom is recycled and nothing is ever lost. We can see this clearly in the animal and vegetable forms, yet even what appear to be lifeless minerals have their own consciousness, and every single atom and molecule is vibrating at its own particular frequency, animated by GEB's twin sister Nut, whose the netta we'll get to next. Indeed, it's through Nut's animation that the cycles of becoming are made possible. In my garden, I have a mango tree that makes the most delicious fruit. Aside from its wonderful taste, websites on the internet call it the supercharged superfruit that's rich in all sorts of vitamins and things like copper, potassium, magnesium, and many other benefits. It grows in regular earth, and all I give it is water and once a year some buffalo manure. So where did all those metals and minerals come from? Next to it is a lemon tree that lives on the self-same soil, yet it produces lemons that are rich in different minerals and vitamins. Where did those all come from? Magically, the essence of each was inherent in the seed. Yet how that seed can manifest such abundance and such variety of flavors and fragrances cannot be explained by modern science. On a planetary level, GEB can be seen as the Earth itself. Yet on a human level, the great Sufi Sheikh Ibn Arabi said, "The Earth is nothing other than your body." So in part 1, we've looked at some of the more physical properties of GEB. And in part 2, we'll focus on his more metaphysical properties. And you can stay tuned by clicking on the like and subscribe buttons. And remember, you can also check out my new blog, News from Beyond, and there'll be a link in the description below, where you can also support the channel for just the price of a coffee by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link. And thank you for watching.